All right, it's Monday on Daily Delivery. Patrick Reusse with me. I'm Michael Rand. Patrick, we got to talk about the Twins sweeping to start the season and looking pretty good, doing it in a lot of different ways. Maybe one of the best women's basketball Final Fours I can remember. Caitlin Clark, my goodness, everything that's been said about her and you introducing her to the masses here a little over a year ago. We got to talk
Uh,
about that.
Nobody in the
Um,
Twin Cities had ever heard of her until I went down to
you
Iowa.
did it. You did it. Maybe a little
Boy,
wild. Maybe a little
I can
wild.
I can really agitate people when I tell them that
I
too.
love
That's
when you
great.
do that. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yes.
We'll talk a little wild and maybe sneak in a mention of our undefeated loons at the end. But Patrick, Timberwolves, by some measures, suffered not only the worst loss in franchise history, but worst loss in in some regards in NBA history. I saw worldwide Wob Rob Perez tweeting that the Wolves were 19 and a half point favorites. The worst defeat by a team that was favored by that much since at least 1995. I mean,
I love it.
like what
They're
like
just they're
unbelievable.
I was there Friday night. They played this great first half. They really looked good. Conley was good. I mean, okay, Cat was active. Rudy was really active. Uh, and they were up 65-55 against a Laker team. Anthony Davis was playing, and it was a great team. They came out in the second half, and they were just a bunch of stumble bums. The Lakers started to turn up the defensive pressure, but I didn't even look at yesterday's game. The
No,
idea that they might lose never occurred to me. I looked at
no,
halftime, and they were up six. They down early, and they were up six. Did you look at the box score of the
oh
Toronto of the Portland Trailblazers? I've never heard of
no,
anybody.
not a
Never.
soul, not a soul.
Everybody talks about Lillard not playing, but this Anthony Simons, who's their next star, right? The
Yeah,
kid, he hasn't played for weeks.
right.
They just packed it in. They're trying to, get the best draft choice they could. It is hard to lose to a team on your home court that wants to lose. I mean, the
Yes,
team you're playing wants to lose. Portland just basically announced a month ago they're packing it in. And how could it be? How is it possible? Cat had 3 shots. Anthony Edwards had 30.
yes.
What is going on?
I don't know.
I mean, it looked like I thought for a half the other night, it looked like it's going to work. Gobert, Towns, blah, blah, blah. And then, now they're right back to the same old dissension ridden wolves. And, you know, if they stumble into the 10th spot in the play-in tournament, they'll we a week ago you were saying they could win, only have to play one play-in game, then
Right.
maybe they could win a series, and now you're
Yes.
thinking end the season, don't make us even talk about these idiots again. They're just unbelievable. This franchise is just unbelievable the way they can screw up a one car parade. It's unbelievable.
What? Like,
I don't know.
how do you go from, winning four in a row, including, a bunch of them against playoff teams? Like they go on the road a week ago, they win at Golden State, they win at Sacramento the next night of the back-to-back, and no Towns in that Sacramento game, by the way, very interesting. And they've lost three in a row since then. So, and two, the loss at Phoenix is fine. That's understandable.
Yeah.
The loss here against the Lakers was disappointing, but the Lakers are going to pour it on at the end of the year with the talent they have. But to lose to the Blazers, that was the one that everybody
Well,
just said that's an automatic win. How do you do
yeah,
that?
this is the time of year when you win. These teams show up, they play for 10 minutes, and then you just beat them as bad as you want to, and everybody goes home happy.
Right.
I don't know what how it possibly had. Now it ended up at it. the point spread I saw is 17. So people kept betting it up to 19 and a half.
I
Huh?
guess
Everybody
that's what it said. That was just one tweet I saw. I didn't see the other lines, but I believe it. I mean, they were way favored, so unbelievable.
Oh,
And
yeah. I don't know what to say. I mean, the fans have showed up all year to support this team. And it's funny, I was kind of like having to write something, trying to get something together before before the game because of our deadline problems. I didn't end up writing it, but I was kind of writing about what an entertaining season this has been for the Wolves. I mean, because it's been unpredictable and it's been, there's been disappointing losses, but it's, I mean, they've given us an incredible number of unexpected wins. They've had dynamic nights.
right,
It looks like they had a couple of adults in the room now with Connolly. I mean,
right,
but Rudy's an idiot. Maybe, let's go back and blame Rudy here for having this tantrum after the Phoenix game. And
yeah,
so now all of a sudden you end up, you know, uh, focused on how the officials are beating you instead of you beating yourselves. And I don't know. They're the Timberwolves. They can just mess it. My motto for them is even when they do the right thing, it's the wrong
yes,
thing. And but this is different though. I mean, this is okay. They're missing Naj, who's really an important player. They don't
right.
lose that game if Naj Reed is around.
No, you
He won't let them. But I,
you had your preferred starting five though. You had your five.
yes, yes. Oh yeah, that's true. Why doesn't Finch call timeout and say, throw the ball to Cat?
I don't
Anthony,
know.
stop taking a shot every time you're down the court. But,
25 minutes, 25 minutes, three shots. I know he was in foul trouble. He had five fouls, but my goodness, like, and he
yeah,
leaves without talking after the game. Like something's going on here. Something's going on here because he was mad after the Lakers game too.
yeah. Well, he came back with a pretty good attitude, but no, that's gone. That's gone. And they're going to go limp to the finish and they're going to get ridiculed. And, as I was saying yesterday, well, maybe we'll get lucky in the lottery. Oh wait,
Yeah.
that's right. We're not in it. So I don't know. It's gonna be. I saw Aaron and his buddy walking around there. Oh, what do you think of your team, fellas? Unbelievable.
Tim Connolly should have poked his head out when they were two games over 500 and done some media to earn some goodwill at some point because it's whatever. Like you said, it did seem like I was even saying this a week ago, and and it's that's the nature of this team. Like once you start thinking they've got it figured out, they pull the rug out, and then once you stop believing, then they win a couple games. But I was thinking, man, they finally seem like they're at least playing a mature brand of basketball where, at the end of games, like you said, Conley especially helps them with that. But it's just I just don't know what to say about this team. It's just like and where does it go from here? I mean, you gotta. I mean, forget this season. I think. I mean, maybe they'll do something in the play-in. Who knows? Because that's the nature of them. But
No,
they got bigger
they
problems
might
than
not
they got.
make it. They
Yes,
might not make it. They might
although
lose. What if they lose the last three? They could still lose the
they could
last. They
sure.
could lose the last three and miss it.
Yes, they could because if we were counting the Portland game as an automatic win, you cannot count the Spurs game as an automatic win
Oh
anymore.
God, no. Popovich might beat him just for fun, right? So,
right,
you know,
right, right.
because it doesn't affect their playoff spot or anything. San Antonio's better than the team that was here last night, for God's sakes, or yesterday
Right.
after.
Yes,
It's
the starting five. I had heard of Matisse Thybulle, but the rest of the starting five was Eubanks, Watford, Mays, and Sharp. I don't know.
I don't know any of them. That isn't Travis Mays who played for Texas 20 years ago, is it? I never heard of
It
him.
is
I haven't
not.
heard of that guy.
It is
Okay.
not. No, but
Okay. I don't know. Just there are clowns and there's nothing, there's nothing's going to change. There's never going to change. Never going to change. They're, you know, they're they're going to be brutal as I don't know. If I live to be 90, they're still going to stink. If they're still here, they're still going to stink. They're just, when push comes to shove, they're just a failed franchise. So
So who's going to take the fall for this at the end of the year? Maybe we can talk about that because I know Tim Connolly likes Chris Finch, but I don't think this has been a great year for Chris Finch in any stretch of the imagination. I think
he had a 4-year contract, and they want to pay him off for 3 years.
I
They
don't.
gave him 4 years, didn't they? Right before the season, he's got a 4-year at the end of last year. He's got a 4-year contract.
So maybe
So
not Finch. So who's going to take the fall? Someone's got to take the fall for
can't
this,
be Connolly. We still owe him 32 million.
right?
So I don't know who takes the fall. I think they probably try to trade Cat, don't you? But
Yes.
here's what they got. They got to go to Cat and say, Cat, if you want to be traded, don't say so publicly. And
Right.
he said, if you say so publicly that you want to be traded, we're not going to trade you.
Right.
If you keep your mouth shut and you want to be traded, we'll try to trade you. Something like that. But
Yeah.
brutal.
That only works out if you can trade him, because if you try to work it out behind the scenes and it doesn't work, then you got the Jimmy Butler nuclear option, and then it all goes.
Yeah, but if he comes in and starts screaming at everybody about how they're gutless, everybody laugh at him. So,
Yeah. Right. Yeah,
at least
that's true.
At least Butler has a little stock when he comes in and starts screaming at you. So it's yeah. I mean, Mike, this is disaster, absolute disaster.
How do you
They had to
lose
have
to
I
Portland?
suppose those Sunday afternoon games always draw well. I suppose they almost had a full house there yesterday too, right?
Well,
Till
they had,
one.
yeah, the Lakers game, they had a huge crowd too. Like
Yeah, they had to open up they got rid of the curtain for the Lakers game. They had
well,
19,000. So yeah, I mean everybody was fired up for that game, and it was a hell first half,
then
and
they
then I don't know what happened.
then they had to leave into a snowstorm too, right? That was the night they had the snowstorm. Wow.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Take a playcation to Mystic Lake. With 24/7 gaming, the good times never have to end. And you can satisfy your cravings at our restaurants and bars. Or relax in one of our luxurious hotel rooms. Those that play together, stay together. And don't forget to join Club M so you can spark new memories and bask in the rewards along the way. Follow the lights to Mystic Lake, where every day is play day.
Well, let's move on to the Twins, Patrick. About much better, happier news. I mean, 3-0. I get the Royals. They don't look like they're going to be any good at all. But one thing that
let me bring this up though. The Royals had the best spring training of anybody. They came into I mean, I know it doesn't mean much.
Yeah.
But they came in and say, "Oh, we're young, we're
right.
enthused, we're blah blah blah," and then they get shut out 2 days in a row. Yesterday, they finally score a run, and Joey Gallo hits 2 home runs, including a bomb. The second one.
The second one, yeah.
So congratulations to the Royals. They hit his bat 3 times, which is not easy, and then they. I mean, they look good in the field, and they pitched like crazy. They didn't hit the first 2 days, and I think they must have left the bases loaded 7, 8 times during the series.
Yeah.
But yesterday they got some clutch hits. I tell you, who gave him a big lift this weekend was Trevor Larnach.
Yes.
He hit fourth for him, which looked like a kind of a giddy place to bat him, but they were so hard up for hitters that they batted him fourth, and he must have had six hits, didn't he?
He had a lot. He got a couple in the opener,
and I think he got 3 yesterday. So he got a bunch of hits. So that came in. We really liked him when he first came up. He had a nice swing and everything, but then he struck out half the time, and he wouldn't have made the team if I don't know. Well, he might have made the team, but it wasn't 100%. He would have made the team if everyone was healthy. He might have had to go back to St. Paul. So now he's hitting fourth, and they certainly had to feel good because pitching the first 2 days. Even thing about Kansas City though was Sonny Gray tried to give them runs and they wouldn't score anything.
Right,
walking guys, and he was not sharp at all. But Lopez looked really good on Thursday's game.
The opener, yeah.
Yeah, win them now, and now they go down to Miami and get to see their old pal Louis Arise, and it's not like you're going to be running into a massive fired up audience down there. They'll have about 8,000 people for each game. So I remember way back one year they weren't supposed to be very good and they started 6-0. I can't remember. It was so long ago. Dave Mona was the beat man because I
Okay.
remember him. I
Yeah.
remember him. These are wins you can't take. These are wins that are just as important as your wins later in the year. But that team wasn't. They didn't have the potential of that one. But I'll have to look up and see what that year was that they started 6-0. Well, we'll see references to it if they keep winning here. So
Yeah, Larnach was 5 for 11 this weekend. I think he had a couple walks in there too, so he had a good
yeah,
weekend. You know,
yeah,
the thing that struck me, Patrick, and I think you referenced the pitching already, but I think it was 2019 when they brought in Nelson Cruz, right? That was the first year
yeah,
of Nelson Cruz, the Bomba Squad year,
yeah.
and I remembered thinking before the year that he was important, and then I went to the opener that year and just saw how the lineup felt with him in the lineup. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, like this all of a sudden it felt like a really dangerous lineup. I don't think they scored more than a couple of runs that day, but they still won it. Just plopping him in the middle of it made it feel different. And I kind of got that feeling watching them in this opening series with the pitching. Like we heard about the pitching. We know the rotation's a lot better, but when you see Lopez, then Gray, then Ryan, like having Lopez, and I don't think Lopez is qualifies as a true number one yet, but just moving him up to the top, moving everybody else down, having a healthy Malley, having a healthy Maeda potentially, having Ober in the wings, like you see it kind of come one after another, then you get it. You're like, wow, this is a pretty good pitching staff.
Well, what even better than I mean, I'm not sure about the the prowess of Joe Ryan's got a really good arm. Sonny Gray knows what he's doing. Well, it'll be interesting to see if Maeda is back or not because
Yes.
he was not good in spring training. And Malley, is he going to stay healthy? I
Right.
mean, got a good arm, but yeah, it's certainly better. But I really like the bullpen. Ooh. I mean, Caleb Thielbar
What a
is
story.
remade this incredible story that you can't go back and write it every week, but they're bringing him in and face right-hander, and they brought him in the other day to pitch an inning. I think the seventh they were all right-handed hitters. There were three
Yeah.
right-handed hitters. They didn't have to pick their spots. So you do like the bullpen, and the other thing is the Rob Buxton played 3 days in a row, and I was shocked because he slid it in his belly on Saturday and got dirt in his face, and Rocco still played him on Sunday. I would think I thought he'd give him the day off for sure because he got some sand in his face and he was down for a little bit, a little sand in his mouth. I thought for sure Rocco would have to give him the day off, but he played. So
Wow.
that was something. And I guess we should get used to the fact that he's your full-time DH and the other guy's going to play center field, who did actually put the bat in the ball a few times, Michael Taylor, but
Yes.
he can catch the ball out there. I watched the game with Kelly on Thursday,
Yeah, I
though,
was going
and
to ask you about that.
wrote about it for Sunday, and he went on and on about Buxton as a center fielder and how
Yeah.
much he was watching him and how he's the best he'd ever seen and stuff like that. So it is kind of sad that he isn't playing center, but yeah, that's the way you want to start. They look good, and you know having Joey Gallo actually make contact is something, and it's interesting. They're how they figured out how to shift him. Huh?
Yeah.
Basically they put the right fielder in
But
that long, deep second base position that they had last year.
right.
But Mike, these rules are fantastic.
Oh, I was going to ask you, like,
They're on the shift rule. I was going back and forth between games all week. I must have saw 10, 12 hits that weren't hits last year.
yes.
Getting through the fact that not only are they not letting them shift, but they're making them stay on the dirt is really important.
Yes.
Because at least half of those hits, if they let them play deep on the grass, would have been outs, right?
Right.
I mean, even if they didn't shift, it would have been outs. But also this, I got the MLB package, so I was going back like the Twins were in the sixth inning, and there was 6, 7 games. The Twins were going to go to. I mean, Kansas City was going to come up in the sixth inning, right? So I
Yeah.
went and looked at a bunch of games. 2/3 of them were the 1 o'clock, the noon games, to check up, see what the score. Half of them were over.
Yeah.
They were over already at two. I don't know what time it was, like 2:25, 2:30, something like that. It's amazing.
Yesterday's Twins game was the longest one of the weekend. That was 2:35.
Yeah, right.
It was like 2:32, 2:18, and 2:35.
It's unbelievable, and it's like, I mean, once in a while, like, you call a guy and looks at it. You know what's funny is the players have been pretty well warned, because when strikes are being called or balls are being called, you don't see people raising hell and screaming and hollering, because I suppose the clock starts again and they can do it to them again.
Do you want another one?
If you want to complain about it, so. But it's the first thing baseball's done right since.
Yes.
I don't know since when.
I know.
It's amazing that baseball did something right. It's incredible.
Yeah, but it does. And again, did you miss the constant? I mean, did it feel, aside from understanding that it you got to the end and it was 25 minutes shorter, you didn't take away any action. If anything, you added it. Like you didn't detract from the game in any way. Like, I feel like when the NFL tries to like shorten up games or do things in their college football, it's like gimmicky. You're like, oh, why are they doing that? Like, it doesn't. It feels different sometimes, but in this case, it feels better.
The NFL 20 years ago shortened their games by basically eliminating 20 plays. I mean, each team, they just. They kept the clock running,
Right.
And college football is finally doing a little of that too. But yeah, this is the first. This really has no impact on the game whatsoever, except just making everybody do everything quicker, and it's fine. And wait till we get our first arm injury though, and somebody says, "Well, I had to work too fast" or something.
Right.
The other thing we heard, which at the end of the World Baseball Classic there was these essays being written because that Ohtani versus Trout at bat, and there was an old-fashioned at bat that took 5 minutes, and she said, this is, I've changed my mind, the speed up rules, this is what we need. They should let this at bat breathe and stuff like that. They let that at bat breathe. So you're taking one at bat, and I figured it out, 2,400 games or something, but we're taking one at bat and saying, don't go to those speed up rules, because you're going to take away these long, wonderful, dramatic at bats. No, you aren't. You're going to save the game. You're going to save the game by doing this. It's incredible what's going on. So it's fantastic.
Yeah. And the at bat can still be dramatic. Like, it can still be a 10-pitch at bat if it takes 2 minutes. That's fine, right? It doesn't have to be long to be dramatic. Like, there's rules in all sorts of games. You have to shoot a free throw within 10 seconds. You have to get a playoff in a certain amount of time in football. Like, you don't have all the time in the world to do whatever you want. It's fine. You can compete and go fast at the same time.
Well, some of these hitters got to be thinking, why was I walking around in the box for 10 minutes before everything? As my guy Kelly used to say, they should eliminate Velcro if they want to speed up the game, because they can't even go out of they don't have time to get out of the box and tighten up the arm band anymore. So it's fantastic. I love it. And now the home team comes home Thursday, and I looked, and it was a high of 34 and overnight low of 16, and it's going to snow on Wednesday, right? So let's announce right now that the opener's on Friday, when it's supposed to be 47 and sunny. So
right now I'm looking at the forecast. I think they're saying now what we're going to get is maybe more rain than anything else, but high Thursday of 37. I wouldn't want to play in that. High Friday of 51. High Saturday of 62. That sounds more like baseball weather to me.
Yes. Let's just announce it. And then people from Brainerd that have tickets don't have to drive down here and freeze to death. But, and the other thing about modern meteorology is they're right 90% of the time, unlike the old days where Bud Kraling was throwing darts at the map and stuff like that. So, anyway, but a good start for the Twins. I wasn't optimistic. I'm not ready to change my mind.
No.
But, hey, it's more fun when they win some games.
You must have had fun catching up with TK. It kind of seems like his kind of team, at least the way they've built it, with the pitching and the defense being more emphasized right now.
Yeah, he would. He definitely is like the Lopez guy, because he got a report from Bushy.
I saw that. Yeah,
Bushy called him and while he was there, while he was talking to him, he asked him about Lopez, and he gave him the endorsement. So it was. I always enjoy him, and he's sometimes. So I knew he was a fan of Angela Lansbury and.
The Murder, She Wrote. Yeah.
So he's got this old TV, whatever it was. When I came in, I didn't know what show it was, but it wasn't her. Okay, so
yeah.
So, and then I talked to his neighbor and that little cul-de-sac that they live in there. They're all buddies and they golf together and they do each other's stuff. It was all in a column, but
right.
But so he got the neighborhood. So then Friday morning, I called him up and I said, okay, I better confirm this Murder, She Wrote thing. And he complained about her not, sticking to Cabot Cove.
Cabot Cove, yeah.
I've never watched an episode in my life, so then I said, he complained about Cabot Cove, and then the lead was going to be about the neighborhood, kind of. So I said, okay, I know where this ends. I just have to figure out how to get there.
Yeah,
that was about Cabot Cove.
I love that ending.
Was too good to pass up. So, he's a unique individual. That is for sure. So
I watched quite a bit of Murder, She Wrote back in the day with my grandma. She was very much into it.
Yeah,
so I know all about Cabot Cove and the strange tendency that murders tend to happen wherever she went.
Yes.
At a certain point, you'd think she might have been a prime suspect, but I guess
I watched this series, Endeavor, which is like 9 years, and it's set in Oxford, right? They're in the Oxford Police Department. It's incredible how many murders they can have in a sophisticated place like Oxford, killing each other all over. It doesn't make any sense that Cabot Cove would have that many murders.
Oh, it doesn't. No, guess that's what makes it television. But that was a good.
Anyway, that was good. Hey, good luck to the Twins. Let's set it up to they got some issues going into this team, and one of their issues might be that the Wild could still be playing in June and take all the attention away. So a good start that seemed to have a reality to it would be really, if Buxton ends up, if you've played 6 games when you get home and Buxton's played all of them, wouldn't that be phenomenal?
Yes, and if he's been hitting too. He looks good.
Oh yeah,
he looks good to play.
Not just up there wailing away, striking out like he did last year and hitting that long home run every once in a while. It looks like he's got a much better approach at the plate. So anyway, yes.
Let's talk about the women's tournament before we get to the little wild at the end. The game, I guess it would have been Friday. That was Friday, right? When the semifinal with Iowa beating
South
Carolina, and then LSU gets them yesterday. But man, my goodness, Caitlin Clark. I feel like she's just the story of college basketball right now. Not women's college basketball. Like I feel like this women's tournament has eclipsed the men's tournament in some ways, just because of the nature of how good it's been, how good she is, and how diminished the men's game is right now.
And they had the good teams in the field. I'm all in on San Diego State because of Brian Dutcher.
Of course,
it's not good basketball, And tonight's game got a chance to be ugly as can be because UConn plays the hell out of defense too. And San Diego can go 8 minutes without scoring and still figure out a way to beat you. But but the thing about the women's tournament is they got their good teams to the Final Four.
Yes.
UConn beat, but Virginia Tech, I think, was favored over LSU. And LSU had tremendous athletes. But Mike, I have always said not always said, but the last 10 years I've said, as women's basketball has improved the talent-wise, their biggest problem is their officiating is horrible. It was brutal, absolutely brutal. And Clark was worn down too because she played the whole game at South Carolina, and she she made 6 threes in the first half, I think, but she didn't have the same shot going for her. But she's a lot of fun. She's an amazing, an amazing attraction for women's basketball. It's incredible, and she's going to be back next year for sure.
Yes.
And maybe 2 years. She can play 2 more years if she wants to. And then they can get Madden Greenway down there to replace her. So,
right. I know it.
So it is incredible, though. Iowa, the way they, you can say they don't have anything else to worry about down there, blah, blah, blah. And, they don't have pro teams or major league teams. But, man, they follow that team. It's incredible. They had half the audience at the Final Four in Dallas. They were all over the place in Dallas. So, yeah, it was great. I mean, it was great. It just could have been so much better if they let them play. Yeah. And that kid from Watertown, man, Zanano, she got in foul trouble immediately, and they had to sit her down, which is a big loss to Iowa because she is the recipient of all the Caitlin Clark. She shoots a lot of layups after passing Caitlin Clark. So she had a great career, though, too. And they were very classy in their comments after the game, the Iowa play. I know that Bluter wanted to go nuts, and I'm sure Clark and Monaco did too, but
on the officiating,
they didn't go there after the game anyway. So I guess the fact they gave up 102, they probably couldn't complain too much. But here's the deal: against South Carolina, they let them shoot the 3 and they couldn't make it, and these LSU shot 19% on threes during the year, and yesterday they were making them all. So
well, and Clark, bit of a. More than a bit of a trash talker, and that became a little bit of a narrative yesterday too, with Reusse from LSU giving her own gesture back. I kind of love that actually. I like that whole thing.
Reese's own gesture was a lot more over the top than Clark's was. Clark was walking down the sidelines and kind of went like this, and Reusse made a big production out of it at the free throw line, but that's okay. I mean, Clark didn't complain, so you know.
I had no problem. I had no problem with that. I kind of liked it actually. It was kind of a.
They did, however, get away with some stuff during the game that they should not have. I mean, this Reese's thing was the game was over, pretty much. But during the game, one of them made a basket and then held their hand down by the knee, like you're too small.
Doing the Patrick Beverly too small.
Which I talked to the referee and says that's automatic T. Automatic T. You're watching it, so anyway, in the NCAA, so
right,
yeah. Hey, by the way, did you see what that idiot got in a big row with LeBron? He was taunting LeBron Beverly when he played. Where is he even now? Where did he
Chicago?
God, he's an idiot. I am so happy. I hate that guy. He's a moron. And everybody gave him all this credit for all he did last year and improved the defense. He's a moron, and they don't guard him because he can't shoot. So but he doesn't know that he can't shoot.
Yeah.
So he's taunting LeBron, for God's sakes. What a moron!
Not a good idea.
No. But hey, look out for the Lakers. They might win a couple series. Anthony Davis just decided to play, and when he's playing, he's the best player on the court most of the time. So they they're going to win a series for sure. And, they're going to win the play-in, and then they're going to win a series for sure. So I think they got a lot of players. I mean, you look at the team, pretty dang good. They're pretty talented, and LeBron looks okay. So they're gonna win a series. But these guys, our Timberwolves, end it, please.
Yeah.
Lose the last three.
Just
go home, go away, come back next year. Whoever you got, you're just a bunch of, you're just, it's just ridiculous.
It ain't happening.
Just ridiculous.
Give the April spotlight to the Wild. Let the Wild see what they can do. Let's not have any divided attention, any delusions about anything else. Let's just see what the Wild can do. I don't know how far the Wild's going to go. I feel like this is a team that could just as easily lose in the first round because I feel like there might be a better regular season team than they are a playoff team maybe at this point because their goal differential is still not that great. But some of it just depends on what the goaltending is. I mean, that's just it. And Gustafson's been awfully good. So, and if they get Kaprizov back, maybe that changes.
He was at the Wolves game Friday night, Kaprizov and
right?
Justin Jefferson. They were both at the game. I hope they left at halftime. They didn't get any bad, habits watching those the way they played. But anyway, hey, that's Twins good, Wild good, Wolves horrible, and go for hockey coming up this weekend. And
Loon's undefeated, Patrick. Undefeated, baby.
Were we? I thought we had a loss.
Nope, no losses. They got
a couple of ties.
They have 3 wins and 2 draws so far. 3-0 on the road. There you go.
Oh, and was that a road game yesterday?
Yeah, the one the other day against St. Louis was a road game. Yeah, they were 3-0 on the road so far. So
I just can't get into it as long as we don't have Reynosa.
Yeah.
What is going on?
I don't know.
That's we don't. I mean, Heath kept saying, we got to get this resolved. What? What are we resolving?
Right.
What are we resolving? Stop complaining if you're not going to tell us what it is. What's the deal? I think he's trying to get out of his contract, right?
Seems like it. But he just signed a new contract.
But then somebody came along from Europe and wanted him or something, right?
Yeah, there was some transfer chatter. Yeah.
Yeah. So, And then, so they suspended him. The league has suspended him.
The league suspended him, yeah.
Trying to get out of his contract, I think. I don't know how.
For not showing, I mean, essentially for not showing up. I mean, that's the basic thing. He's not there, so they can suspend him. But yeah. It's weird. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway. Well, congratulations to them. I don't know. I've got my anti-soccer vibe back on. They're just, who are these guys? They change players. They change 5 players a week, for goodness sakes. Who are they?
Look at the international breaks.
Any league that has 70 of its players leave to play some exhibition game against, Trinidad Tobago is idiotic. Have your season. Have your season. They're taking 5 weeks off in the middle of the season to play Mexico. What do I care how they do against La Liga? Is that La Liga? I don't even know.
What are you going to do when they start doing the World Baseball Classic in July?
Yeah, they aren't going to do it. Don't worry.
Okay.
That's everybody decided to get excited about it this year. Yeah, well, we can go back and have those arch rivalry games with Great Britain again. By the way, Trace Thompson, did you see that? 3 home runs, 8 RBIs.
Yeah.
He played for Great Britain because his father was from the Bahamas, Michael. And they became independent from Britain in 1973. Close enough. You can play for Great Britain.
Can you hit? Okay.
Yeah. 50 years ago when we became independent, but you can still play for Great Britain.
It's amazing.
Your dad's from there, and we're supposed to say, oh, this is growing baseball. Yeah, I'm sure England was just really fired up for the World Baseball Classic. This has gone on too long. You got me too worked out.
All right, Patrick. Bye-bye.